For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. Welcome to The Scribble, everybody. 30 minutes of just, it's time-wasting fun is what it is. But yes, I hope you have your barf bag in the locked position or whatever Larson just said. We are counting down the days to Christmas. Have you finished your Christmas shopping? Better yet, have you started your Christmas shopping? I actually did start last month. That's probably the earliest ever. And the only reason that I did was because I was invited to an employee's discount sort of sale. You know when stores do that, right? The friends and family pricing or whatever it's called. That's the only reason that I got my Christmas shopping started, was because of that. Would love to hear your thoughts on when you start your Christmas shopping. Are you a Black Friday scrapper? Is that when you go, when you can just punch somebody in the face and get a TV for cheap? Or do you do it all online now so you never have to step foot in a store? Send me an email, jb@jbonair.com, jb@jbonair.com. Raquel Castro is starring in Empire, and she was also on The Voice. You remember her, and we're going to be chatting with her a little bit later in the show. Now, here's something interesting, speaking of shopping. Okay, I was out of town for a few days. We were taping our radio shows, Top of the Charts and The Open Road, in Quebec. You're going to hear that Monday, so depending on when you're listening to this, it might already be airing right now. But I come home, and there's a delivery waiting for me. Okay? Now, I'm in a development where we don't have door-to-door mail delivery. It just gets into like a community box. And so when I open up my slot, there's all my mail. And then there's the key that I go into the bottom compartment and I get my parcel that's there. Now, I get stuff delivered all the time. A lot of the stuff comes to the office. But, you know, I order things all the time. And I just take out the box and that's that. So I get in and I'm going through all the mail because I was gone for almost a week. And I'm flipping through it, and then I open this box, and it's a watch. And then I have to go and look, and I'm like, did I order a watch? Did somebody send me a watch? Like, where did this come from? So it's actually got my address on it, but somebody else's name. And it's from a very big box retailer, let's call it. And at first I was kind of like, well, what do I do now? Because I know that it's illegal to open up somebody else's mail. I get that. It's not like I was doing it on purpose, because this thing was in my mailbox, so I just figured that it was correct. And then, now that I look at the outside of the box, I see that it's my address, but not the right name, and I know that that person doesn't live in my house. So I was kind of conflicted about this, because back in the day when I had a mailbox that the person would come to the door and bring me my mail, I could just write return to sender and put it back in my mailbox. Well, with this new fangled compartment contraption thing that they have, I don't have my own personal mailbox anymore, so I can't go and put it back into my own slot because the box was too big, and I had already put the key back in the depository where you're supposed to put it, so I couldn't even go back into that compartment. I was totally lost. Then to stick it to the post office, they closed the postal outlet by my house, so then it's, a 20-minute drive or whatever to the closest one now at this point. But then I started thinking about it. This is a stupid customer then, because they don't necessarily know their own address. Now, this retailer I'm talking about, and most places where you shop online, you've got 2 or 3 confirmation pages before you actually place your order. So if you don't know your own address and you haven't caught that it's completely wrong, because then I even did searches for this person's name, and even on the packing, the label on the box, the phone number wasn't even a phone number. They put zeros. So then I was like, well, now you're even stupider, because there was no way to get in touch with you then at this point. But I did my part. I'm not that invested. It's almost a $200 watch that shows up at my door. So what would you do if this happened to you? I get that somebody's probably going to be pissed off because they're out of, and maybe they'll just claim that they never got it and they'll have to reorder or something, but it's not like the post office lost it. It's not like the store sent it to the wrong address, though they might have. Are you going to be honest during the holiday season and try to track this person down? Do you return it to the store that it came from? Because it's return to sender. It's not like it was the wrong address. So, am I going to end up having to pay to ship this back? Do I just refuse the parcel? I didn't have to sign for it because it was just left for me. Do you lie and say that it never came? I don't know what you're talking about. Because here's the deal. I asked a lot of friends and family advice on this one, and the bottom line is, if that person goes back into their order online and sees where it was shipped to, well, what's stopping them from all of a sudden showing up at my door and going, I'm here to collect that watch that was delivered to you? And then you're face-to-face with the person, although I guess I just don't have to answer the door. But, it's interesting to hear how many people said sell it, how many people said keep it, how many people said take it back or send it back. So what would you do? What would you do? By the way, I'm going to tell you what I did, is that I'm still holding on to it because, yes, the person could theoretically show up at my door and ask for it, and yes, I would give it to them. So what would you do? Let's be honest here. Even if you just want to send me an anonymous email or tweet or whatever, I want to know your thoughts about what you would do in this situation. This is almost a $200 watch that just randomly shows up. Do you regift it? Do you keep it? Do you sell it? Do you send it back? What do you do? And I did honestly, legitimately try to track the person down online as well, to no avail. Send me an email, jb@jbonair.com, jb@jbonair.com. Tweet us up at The Scribble Show on Twitter. That's at The Scribble Show. And again, Raquel Castro from Empire, and she's got new music out. We're going to talk about that right after this.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom41.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 41.com. Go to freedom41.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom41.com.
Celeb spotting on The Scribble.
You remember her from season 1 of The Voice and also in the hit Jersey Girl. And now Raquel Castro has joined Fox's Empire, and she's joining us on the line. Hi, Raquel.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great.
Well, let's talk about this, because over the past, several years now, it's like you've grown up in public and on television. So what is that? How old are you, first off? 20 years old?
I just turned 21.
21, okay. So you've covered a lot of ground, and you're just in your 20s. So what's that been like?
I mean, it's been great. Honestly, I love just growing and, figuring myself out. And I still feel like a kid. I don't really feel like I'm some crazy adult now. But I'm just enjoying the journey. And I feel like this is just a great time for me. And everything's kind of starting back up. I was a child actress. And then I kind of took a break and just focused on being a regular kid. And I graduated high school. I moved to California by myself when I was 18 for 2 years. And that was a great growing experience as well. And then now I'm back home in New York with my family, and I'm continuing to be creative and working, and I'm just enjoying this right now.
Let's talk about that, because you hear a lot of people move to Los Angeles in the hopes of making it big. We hear the cliche, they work in restaurants in the meantime. Is it scary? I imagine that's incredibly scary, especially at 18 years old.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I did it very spontaneously. I went there for vacation. I mean, I was 18, so, I could go off and do my own thing at that time. So I went there, and I just fell in love with, the atmosphere there. I mean, everyone is doing something creative, whether it's singing, dancing, writing, acting, modeling. So it kind of just sucks you in a way. And I met such amazing people out there. There definitely were times where, it wasn't as great as, the good times were, but I learned a lot. I booked a few things out there, and I got to do a little bit of work. That was nice. But I did, I worked at Saddle Ranch at Universal City Walk for a while, and, I don't really have, like, an ego where I feel like I shouldn't be doing that, but as an artist, you want to be creative. You want to be doing what you love to do, so it could get to you at that point and just make you feel like, what's going on and nothing's happening, and, you really have to be passionate about what you're doing, and that's the only way you're going to survive this business is if you really just love what you're doing.
In making that jump, though, what was the reaction from your friends and family?
My friends thought I was crazy because, none of my friends are in the business. They're, I went to regular public school, and, they're doing their thing, but they don't really understand, like, this business and how you kind of just have to, like, take chances and, just go with the flow, and you have to just be willing to, move across the country to do what you love to do, and that's what I did. And my family was very supportive. My mom's my manager. My father, was a musician as well growing up, so they kind of get it, and they weren't too hard. But I guess I was 18. I was their little girl, so it definitely could be nerve-wracking, I'm sure. But I'm a daredevil, so I don't really have fear of that stuff. Like, I like doing stuff like that kind of makes people think I'm crazy. So.
Let's talk about...
I guess they were expecting it.
So let's segue into something called Young and Dumb. What can you tell us about that?
That's my new single. I wrote it actually when I was living in LA, and it's just about being in, like, a relationship. Maybe it's your first relationship or, that, like, young love type of thing, but it's just about living in the moment and having fun in the relationship that you're in and not really letting other people's opinions determine, what you do or who you choose to be with. So that's kind of what it's about. It's not about, I've talked to people and they're like, you're not young and dumb. What are you talking about? But it's just, it's just a thing. Let's just have fun and let's be carefree and live in the moment.
If you're diabetic, this message could change your life. Is your blood sugar out of control even when you do all the right stuff? Are you afraid of diabetic blindness and the risk of amputation, as well as all those other side effects? Well, you should be. Is there anything that could help manage your blood sugar? Nobetes is a natural supplement that may quickly and dramatically lower your blood sugar.
My name is Bob Corder. I've been using Nobetes for about 3.5 to 4 months now. And in the first 3 months, I've actually lowered my blood sugars from 500s down to 139, and then it dropped to 88 to 93.
My name is Kirsten. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and while taking Nobetes, my blood sugar levels dropped from 295 to 115 in just 1 day.
The FDA hasn't evaluated these statements, and Nobetes isn't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But for many, it's helped drop their blood sugar. So if you've been evaluated with high blood sugar, don't delay. Evaluate Nobetes now. Call 800-478-9568 and get your free bottle. Just cover shipping and handling. Call 800-478-9568. That's 800-478-9568.
JB here, back talking with Raquel Castro. What is it that you like? You do acting, you do music, so you're sort of doing it all. Why not just focus on one, or do they all sort of mold in together nowadays?
I feel like they're molding together in a way, and I feel like, I started as an actress, but I always loved singing. Like, when I was younger, I would watch, musicals, and my favorite movie, Selena, and, that stuff always inspired me, and it brings out a different side of me, I guess. I feel like when I'm writing and I'm singing, it's more of like a vulnerable side of me, and then when I'm acting, it's like more of a challenging side, because it's like, okay, what is character? How can I turn myself into this crazy character, or do this or do that? So I don't know. I just feel like I love acting, I love being on set, but then I love being in the studio and writing, and I feel like nowadays you kind of just have to go with whatever is happening. So it's like, if you're auditioning and you book something, then that's great, and that's how you're going to be creative for that time. And then, if nothing's happening, you can sit down and write a song and be creative and work with other people. So I don't know, I just feel like it kind of all meshes together.
Where do you get the motivation? Because, I knew probably at about 13 that I wanted to do writing, and so, I've got best-selling book and radio and newspaper columns and things like that. But where do you get your motivation? At 21 years old, a lot of people are out there partying and not focused on a career.
I think my family really inspires me. and that's kind of what motivates me, because I really want to do good for them, and I want to be able to help them, and give my family like a better life. So that's something that definitely motivates me to be successful. And I'm glad you said that, because I feel like some people look at this business and they just think like fame and fortune and all of that kind of stuff, but that's not really the way that I look at it. Like, I feel like fame is something that just comes with it, but I don't think that should be the main priority. If you're just singing to be famous, then I don't really think that you are an artist. I feel like an artist really just wants to be successful doing what they love to do, and like that's an awesome job. Like, it's not even a job, it's not even work. It's like you're getting to have fun, and you're making a living having fun. So that's kind of like the way that I look at that, and that's kind of what motivates me too, just because, if I could say and tell my own children, like, I got to live my life and do what I love every single day, I feel like that would motivate them and inspire them, and that's kind of what I want to do.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back talking with Raquel Castro. Let's talk about the success. Starring on Empire, obviously you've met some really big names, right? And what is that like, right? You just said that you're the only one of your friends who's in show business, and you went to just regular public school, and now here you are, bumping into Jennifer Hudson, Mary J. Blige, Patti LaBelle. That's got to be surreal.
I don't know if I've reached that point yet. But no, I've got to work with such amazing people, like Taraji P. Henson on the show. She plays Cookie, Terrence Howard, and they're amazing. It could be a little bit intimidating, especially for the first episode that I filmed, just because it's like, I haven't really been acting that much. Like I said, I stopped for a few years and I focused on music, or I don't know if I said that, but I did. I was a child actress, and then I went to school, focused on doing that, and then I focused on music. So this was one of my, the biggest things coming back into it. So it definitely could be a little intimidating to be around, such amazing talent, but at the same time very inspiring, and I learned so much just watching them. I don't even think they know that I was watching them, but I do. And they just have such amazing chemistry on the set of Empire, and the cast is amazing, and it just taught me to just be there and not overthink anything, and just kind of do, because when they're on set, they just do random things sometimes, or they do a lot of improving, and that's kind of what makes their characters so amazing. So it's really cool. And just growing up also, I got to do, after I did Jersey Girl, I got to interview people at the Kids' Choice Awards, like Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler, Cameron Diaz, and people that I watched growing up. So it's a really cool feeling. I love it, and I hope to be in more of my idols. I've been very blessed. So it's a really cool feeling.
Take that opportunity, and I would just be sort of off singing in the corner somewhere, and then go, "Oh, I'm sorry, J. Hud. Oh, I'm sorry, Mary J. I didn't know you were there." Right? And then they hear you.
No, you heard me? Oh, well, now that you mention it.
Oh, darn. I feel so embarrassed now. There you go. Do that next time.
I know. Some people do that, I think, honestly. I don't know. Sometimes I can get shy, or I don't want to, overstep, the boundaries, and I don't want to make people feel, awkward or anything like that. So I don't know. I just try and, really keep it cool, and I don't think I've gotten starstruck yet. Maybe when I was younger with Jennifer at first, when I first met Jennifer Lopez, because she was I loved Jennifer Lopez back then, and I still love her today. So maybe that was the only time I got starstruck, but I don't know. I just try and keep it cool, and they're humans, they're people. So I don't know. I don't want to make it really weird.
Would you have the courage to sing a J-Lo song to J-Lo?
Man, I don't know. I sang it on an interview when I was younger. They had me sing Jenny from the Block, and so that was funny. But I don't know. I think I would. My dream is to be on stage with Jennifer, like doing like throwback, like back in the day Jenny, and like do a whole performance with her, because I'm a dancer as well. So it's like I don't know, I envision like this whole performance, and I'm hoping it happens one day.
If we had more time, we'd get her on the line and put you on the spot. What?
I do it. If you did, I do it.
What can we expect from you then in the next 6 months? What are you working on right now?
So right now I'm just trying to finish putting my album together. I have Young and Dumb, that's my first single. Right now I'm in a contract with Empire, so I can't release anything right now, but I'm hoping to release my next single by the beginning of the summer, so maybe like late June, early July, and then hopefully by like the midsummer, end of the summer, drop like an EP or something like that. So that's my game plan right now.
Well, I think we will have to chat again with you at that time.
Yes, please. I would love that.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching Empire on Fox. Raquel, how can people keep in touch on social media? What are your pages?
I'm always on Twitter, so my Twitter is @Raquel Castro. Instagram is one of my favorites as well. It's Raquel X Castro. And I have Snapchat, which is like that new thing now where you can post videos and all that stuff. And that's Kel Castro, Kel Castro.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, and we wish you all the best.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on SoundCloud and iTunes and at thescribbleshow.com. We're 40-some weeks into this, so I hope that you've been following along. And you know what the best thing is that you download it and you take it with you on the go. And that's something that, I don't listen to our crap that we put together because I host too many shows already. We've got our Top 40 show, our country show, our entertainment show, and this now. I get sick of hearing myself all day talking, but the coolest thing is that you download it and then you take it on the plane. And so when I had, 3-hour flight and then a 1-hour flight last week, actually earlier this week as well, I definitely do love downloading some classic TV shows and just watching those on the plane. And that kind of calms my nerves because an airport seems to be a very frustrating place these days. I'm laughing about it now, but my ear was on fire. Now, this is a story that not many people know. When I'm really, really pissed off, one of my ears, and it's always my left ear, gets very, very hot and red, and it's noticeable. And now people notice it that I've pointed it out to them, but before it kind of just was like, what's with your ear? It's very red. And so at the airport, that's a true test that I was just fed up. And here's the deal. We know that airplanes are packed these days. They just cram you in like sardines, and flying is a miserable task just to begin with. But when you're at the airport, first off, it annoyed me because as you're in the boarding lounge or the boarding area, whatever it's called, the terminal or something, there's those rows of seats, and oftentimes it's quite full then as departure time gets closer, right? And so it's fine if you've got the entire section open and you have your bag on the seat beside you, or your cup of coffee on the seat beside you, or a magazine or a newspaper on the seat beside you. But as it's filling up, where do people get the nerve to just totally ignore the other human beings around them and still keep your bag on the seat beside you? And the same thing could be said on a subway or on a bus or, what have you. But, like, when did your coffee cup become more important than the comfort of somebody else? And I don't buy that anybody is that oblivious that they didn't think that, somebody might need the seat beside me. Okay? That's fine that you might not care to sit beside somebody, but you know what? You're going to be doing it on the plane in like 10 minutes anyway, so what's the problem now? Right? And I know that everybody kind of gets that good feeling like, oh yes, the seat beside me is open. And well, I like to be that bastard. I'm going to be honest about this. I like to be the bastard that boards almost late just to kind of piss the person off because the airport just frustrates me so much that yes, I will purposely board late. Anyway, so I probably don't help the situation. But anyway, it's taking that seat from somebody that clearly could be. And I was on a subway not too long ago, and there was a guy across the aisle from me. So he wasn't even the seat beside me, because I was sitting next to the window, so I was good that I left it open. He goes and puts his bag on the seat beside me. So then people are coming on and looking at me as though I'm the seat hog. And I was just wanting to say, like, yeah, get your bag off of the seat beside me. But it's not my seat, so I don't really, it was kind of awkward. But then people are looking at me and giving me a scowl, and I just shrugged my shoulders and was like, it's not mine. But he just did that, and I thought, this is a guy who, I don't know, like, why can't you just hold your backpack on your lap? I get that it might not be very comfortable, and it might not be the most convenient, but you still have that courtesy of giving the person the seat if they need it, right? If not, then, like an airplane, pay for the second seat. Wouldn't that be fair? If you feel that your belongings, I'm talking about on a subway or bus here, not obviously on a public seat somewhere else, but if your belonging is that precious to you, then pay the extra fare to take the seat from another person who paid. Because you're making a person stand now. And I get that the fare is to get you from one place to the other. It's not a seat like you're getting on a plane. But at the same time, it's the same sort of a principle, isn't it? Now then, I decided to just let loose. On the way home, I just don't give a crap. We had taped, 2 weeks worth of shows in a matter of like 4 days. I was tired. I was fed up from everything. And I just started to randomly talk to this person who was waiting for the same plane as I was. We were sitting beside each other, and these kids were just running in circles and running around. And, I had my carry-on. And I'm one of those people that I'm not going to pay the $25 to check a bag now as well, so I'm going to cram everything I can into my carry-on, so I'm going to be that passenger as well. Anyway, I'm really not setting myself up to be the person of reason here, am I? But these kids were running around, and it was frustrating because the parents were so busy talking and texting that they weren't even paying attention to their kids that were running around, and as they're doing their laps around the people who are sitting there waiting, they're grabbing onto the handle of my carry-on, and they knocked it down twice. So finally, I said stop. Now, there was a part of me that wanted to stick my foot out and trip them when they were going, but I didn't because, that could have just been an awkward situation. But it's also not a playground, and there are airports that have a little place where kids can go and run around and play. So go and play there. I don't get why all of a sudden you're in a public place. And I get that some parents do that in a toy store or in a shopping mall or something else, but I certainly don't expect to see that at a restaurant if I'm dining there. I don't want kids all of a sudden just running around as people are walking and, they're getting in the way of everybody, possibly tripping somebody or what have you. So the airport is probably one of the most frustrating things, or places to be and things to deal with. Then I had to laugh because earlier this summer when we were doing our show somewhere else, so we went somewhere, and I had just got off the plane and I fired up my phone, and somebody had tweeted that they were recommending my book, which is called Put Down Your Damn Phone Already. We've talked about it here on the show several times. And somebody said, it's about time somebody said this and, wrote about it because it's so true. And it's funny, the irony being that I was actually just in an airport walking and was almost crashed into by 3 people because they had their heads down and they were texting or whatever they were doing on their phone, and they almost basically, sideswiped and ran into me. So there we go. There's many things about airports that piss me off. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Send me an email, jb@jbonair.com, jb@jbonair.com. Last week on our radio shows, Top of the Charts and The Open Road, we celebrated the 500th episode of Top of the Charts. 9.5 years, 500 weeks, technically, of shows. And we had some celebrity guests joining us. Joy Behar and American Idol Taylor Hicks joined us. And we also looked back at our previous surprise guests. We did that, I believe, on the Scribble last week here. So we are going to be playing those calls next week. We're going to relive show 500. And then this week on Charts and the Open Road, we are broadcasting live from Quebec City. And we are taking you on a tour of the city there. So I think that we might have some clips of those shows and to hear what we were doing there. Fascinating city, very European if you've never gone there. Brick, streets, very narrow as well. It was done up. There was no snow, so it was a little bit awkward to tape our Christmas show there at the beginning of December with no snow, but definitely a nice city. We went to the trampoline place. I learned how... I did, the American Ninja Warrior course on NBC? Certainly not as extensive, but I did that. And apparently somebody had done it in 21 seconds. It took me about 9 minutes. But I did it. We've got pictures of it, and we talked with the manager of the location there. We also visited the German Christmas market, where we taped our Christmas show, and a monastery, which is actually the oldest hospital in North America. So we stopped in there, and I met a nun who's been there for 50 years. We also did a city tour. We saw a waterfall, and we went to a market where there was a petting zoo, and I fell in love with the animals there. So we're going to have all those pictures and everything on our website, so I will tell you more about that next week. Again, thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com on SoundCloud and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at The Scribble Show. You've already heard Larson talk about that, and I've mentioned it a few times. My Twitter, though, is at SF, as in Speak Free, Celebwatch, at SF Celebwatch. My name is Jeremy Bradley, and this is The Scribble. I will talk to you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a Speak Free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,